Letter from Mike Nierenberg, Phil's friend, dated July 15, 1944. Dear Phil, this letter would never have been written had I not met your brother Harry near 40th and Girard one day not so long ago. Through your wife, I then received notice of your whereabouts, etc., etc. It couldn't surprise me to learn of your being a pappy, since I too am among that category. Yep, it's a little female. Enough about kids. How have you been, and just what are you doing of interest? Been so damn long since I've seen you, I don't know what you've learned about me in the past or what you've heard. My old outfit is now somewhere in Italy, keeping busy and doing more than I think I can talk about or what might prove of interest to you. While at Fort Dix, awaiting orders to ship, I met with an accident which not only prevented my going, but hospitalized me for almost 9 months. Result of injuries were both legs and toe broken. Serious at first, but I managed to live. Had an opportunity to get out, but this outfit I am with now was forming, and they asked me to come here and do what I could. That was about the time I was being discharged. We are stationed in a school around the corner from the arsenal. It is mainly interested in fire control and artillery, which it specializes with. Some of the top men in the country are stationed here and are sent on field trips all over the world. Of course, this little cripple can't get to go any place anymore. Not really crippled, of course. Just can't make the boat. I intend having your wife come to our place for dinner very soon. We've written to each other, and I expect to ask her over this week. You remember my wife, of course, Frances Siegel by maiden name. I live at home, and it makes things rather nice. Then again, one can't help becoming jittery and wanting to get away for a while. Sounds almost insane, yes? I'm in my 4th year, and Lord knows I don't care for another day of it. Perhaps by the end of the warm weather, we may be celebrating in grand style once again. Let me know all about yourself when you get the time. Don't tell me you haven't any. I know too many boys there, and many who have come back. You probably haven't a thing to do. Kidding, of course. Oh, yeah. Sincerely, Mike Nierenberg. Evelyn to Philip, July 16, 1944. Dearest Phil, I started to write you an email yesterday and then tore it up because I wasn't in a writing mood. I forgot to tell you that yesterday was Mom's birthday, and I had practically forgotten it too. I haven't gotten her anything yet, but I will. We had a new colored girl in to clean yesterday, and she did the whole place in 8 hours. It's a pleasure. She charged $4 and car fare. I was busy with little things all day long. Adele was very cranky due to her teeth and was off schedule. In the evening, I got dressed and took a short walk with Adele. I wore a blue and white pinafore. She wore her red and white. Today, Petey made 3 snaps of Adele, all dressed up in her lovely yellow pinafore. Adele held the skirt of her dress out when asked to, and even smiled for us. One of the snaps may be a little blurred because she moved too suddenly, but the other 2 should be beautiful. If those pictures aren't the best yet, then I give up. When Betty moved, she told me I could have the shades from her house. They didn't fit the porch, but today my dad is cutting them down, and although we may not have enough for every window, We should be able to cover the side facing the street and the one smaller window beside the front door. At least they will be sun protectors. On counting them, I think we'll have enough for all windows except the door and extra large windows. Page 2. Goldie is a regular nut when it comes to caring for the baby. She doesn't have time to eat or sleep, nor does she care if she does. She can't make enough fuss about the kid. Diana is progressing nicely and is losing all her hair. She's almost bald at the moment. She weighs 8.5 pounds. No one in the drive can get over the way Adele follows directions to perfection. They think she is very unusual indeed. They particularly like the way she says "Daddy," home, just as clear as a bell. She says home just as you and I would, only she enunciates more. She imitates anything and everything. For instance, today my dad was banging with the hammer to fix the shades. Adele banged the same noise on the top of the table and said "pop." That's her way of saying the sentence before my last one. Mom taught Adele how to tickle. Adele makes Mom and I lie down and then delights in tickling herself and us, and we all laugh very hard and sort of put it on for her benefit. I expect to go out to Esther's when Adele wakes from her nap, if she isn't cranky. It's very warm today. I just finished hanging a whole yard of clothes, Adele's and mine only, that my mother washed for me. As you can see by my letter, there isn't much to write about in the way of news. I've been missing you more keenly than ever of late, baby, and I kind of think it's 'cause I love you so very much, huh? Oh, baby, how I wish you were here at this very moment. It's exactly 1:45, and for all I know, you may be writing to me this very moment, too. If you'll move just a trifle closer, you'll get a big hug and kiss from your Ev. Philip to Evelyn, 16 July 1944. Dearest darling, last night, being a very pretty one, I decided to take a ride into town with Klein. That is why I didn't write. First, we took in a movie, Andy Hardy's Blonde Trouble, which we found highly entertaining. Mickey Rooney gives his usual masterful performance. The Wilde twins are very attractive and talented, and Benita Granville is very sweet as the sweet young co-ed. Herbert Marshall adds a note of quality to the cast with a very reserved and very fine performance. The rest of the cast is good as always. I must say something about the costumes of the Wilde twins. They wear the most attractive clothes I have seen on the screen in a long while. Take note, Chippy. The plot is the usual confused sort of thing that is typical of all Hardy family pictures, but it still makes for a good evening's fun. I enjoyed it. After the show, we walked over to the D's. This time the older folks were not at home. They were out someplace playing poker, but the kids were. The D's have 2 children. Faye, a very big girl of 16, whose quiet voice and general meek demeanor are a strange contrast to her Amazon-like appearance, and Harold, 15, also very big and strong and matured for his age. They are both good-looking, talented musically, and very sociable. Faye, over whom Klein is always making a large fuss, treating her as if she were a baby, pinching her cheek and calling her Fagula, and making the most ridiculous show of affection over her, plays the piano and accordion, both expertly. Harold plays the drums with an orchestra. Klein's behavior towards Fagula is really laughable. It is so inconsistent with her age and size. Whenever she comes near him, he's all over her like a tent, if you can picture it, flattering her unmercifully and constantly hugging her and saying the most ridiculous and exaggeratedly affectionate things. I describe it badly. One must see it to believe it. Everyone is used to Klein and his antics and hardly notice it. Faye, for her part, tolerates him as much as an elephant would tolerate a bothersome flea. When she gets really annoyed with him, which is much rarer than you might think, she merely grabs him and removes him without showing so much as a flicker of impatience or annoyment. She is tremendously powerful for a girl and handles Klein, who is no weakling himself, as if he were a pup. Perhaps the most interesting character of the assemblage, which included 3 other kids of the neighborhood, also musicians, was Murray, whom Klein fondly refers to as the professor. He is an undersized runt of a kid, about 8 or 9 years old, wears large horn-rimmed glasses, is remarkably intelligent for his years, and plays boogie-woogie on the piano to delight the heart of the most finicky lover of this type of music. No kidding. For that matter, the whole lot of them are boogie-woogie addicts. One kid, about 13 years old, plays the sax and the piano. Another, blonde and good-looking and about the same age, plays the trumpet. Yet, in spite of their tender years, they are all unusually accomplished musicians. I was relieved to find that there was no violin around. I'm almost afraid to play for them for fear of being thought a rank amateur. I fooled around with Faye's accordion most of the evening and acquired a great liking for it. I've decided to learn to play it after I learned to play the piano well enough to give me a good foundation for the accordion. Did I ever tell you, sweet, that I fully intend to take piano lessons when I get home? I hope to know enough about it to teach the pumpkin by the time she is ready for music lessons. That'll be when she's about 5 years old. Anyhow, to get back to the subject, I fooled around with the accordion while Klein fooled around with Fagala, while she fooled around preparing a snack of poached eggs on toast, cake, and tea for us. I did manage to get her to play for me, both on the piano and the accordion. She also took the trouble to explain the bass to me. The reason for all the little white buttons on the left hand had always puzzled me. This was the first opportunity I had ever had of inquiring about them. However, it's a pretty complicated business and will take a lot of learning. I don't have to tell you that I was most reluctant to leave such interesting and entertaining company when it came time to go. I don't have to tell you, sweet, that I enjoyed myself immensely. You must have gathered as much. Your letters of 4th and 5th July arrived this afternoon, and while they were very sweet and filled with the latest doings of Miss Adele Barra, they require no particular comment. Your description of your duties at the office and the office itself were entirely adequate, I assure you, honey. If you'll check on the address of the C&B 5 and 10, I think you will find it is located in Kennett Square and not in Kenneth Square as you had spelled it in that letter you enclosed. It appears that Mr. Bellet does a much larger business than you led me to believe. If he handles such things as sink strainers, he must have a pretty miscellaneous line. I think I might like a job selling for such a concern, and I'd like to know a little more about the possibilities and opportunities there. Think you could enlighten me, Chippy? Your bit about Adele's inquisitiveness and her need for her own room was very intriguing, to say the least. I think I drew a pretty definite picture of her actions from your half-veiled hints. Hell, I'm not surprised. After all, take me. After long and intimate acquaintance with the phenomenon you refer to, I never lost my curiosity, did I? It is understandable, then, that the pumpkin, having much more reason for being inquisitive, everything is still so new to her, reacted as she did. Yes, dear, I agree that Adele will need her own room shortly after I get back. It's going to be fun shopping for her furniture and planning the decorations. And to tell the truth, I've been thinking about just that for some time now. I've given a lot of thought, too, to redecorating 4906 as a whole. Glad to hear that Diana Jean, a lovely name, is picking up nicely. But you forgot to say how Goldie is coming along. Well, Chippy, it appears there were a few things after all that excited comment. Today has been just about the prettiest we have had to date, and I think I will go along with Klein again tonight. Tell you all about it tomorrow, baby. I'll have to rush off now if I want to catch Klein. Forgive me if I seem to cut this off rather abruptly, sweet. Just remember that my love goes on and on. A fond kiss for the pumpkin. My love to all. Your adoring Phil.